Look, just to make sure I cover the topic, I even brought like my little cheat sheet to go by. A lot of y'all know a fellow named Bill White. He wrote a book called Slaying the Dragon. Bill's a friend of mine. I'm going to send him this YouTube and say, hey, Bill. So he'll text me back or email me. John? Nah, he'll be glad I talked about him, actually. Buy the book, okay? I'm going to promote his book. Buy this book. That's one of the most comprehensive textbooks ever written about the history of addiction and recovery in America. Well worth the read, well worth the cost. It gives you a starting point on what's out there. Now, we heard a lot of people say a lot of things tonight. And I want to point out, I got clean August 10th, 1982. My first introduction to anything. It was a treatment center, had clinical licensed social workers, had a psychiatrist, and when I found out I could get drugs, I went to him second day I was there. He said, look, you stay clean for 6 months. If you need drugs, I'll give them to you, but you got to wait 6 months. That was the deal back in 82. So I was sure I was getting drugs in 6 months. But, you know, the counselors were in recovery themselves. So I had treatment, I had clinical, I had connectiveness to recovery. We went to 12-step meetings at night. And to top it off, the Marine Corps told me if I didn't succeed, I'm going to jail. So I had the threat of incarceration and bad conduct discharge. So I had all the things that give us the best chance to stay clean when we start this recovery journey. And I had guaranteed employment for the next 16 months. So I had 16 months left on my enlistment. So, and I took medication. I took Antabuse. So I had the medication assisted, the doctor assisted, the clinical, the social worker, the connectedness to community, the threat of jail, and a job. So I was set up to succeed at recovery. So by the time I got out of the Marine Corps after 16 months, I was launched in my recovery, and I didn't want to go back. I kind of like what I had. I like having money in my pocket, so forth and so on. But I didn't know about multiple pathways. One thing everybody in this room can take a lot of pride in is we've been using this language in 2019. And there are multiple pathways out there. And like James said, find one that works for you. That's important. So we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. Bill also wrote a bunch of books for ATTC. You go Google this stuff. Everything I'm saying, Google it, by the way. Google's a wonderful invention. I know what some of y'all are thinking. Get off of Pornhub and just go to Google, okay? Google some of this stuff and you won't regret it. A lot of good information here. But that book got hundreds of pathways in it, okay? Spend some time, get educated. You won't disappoint yourself, because I hear it all the time. AA sucks, or NA sucks, or Suboxone sucks, or Methadone sucks, or church sucks. Of course they all suck, because you suck. But there's something out there you're going to like, so find it so you can stop sucking and start recovering. So, you know, there's a place for all of us. I know I'm with my people. So here's some stuff you can get involved with, all type of pathways. But I want to point something out to you really interesting. That's a picture of a bunch of folks suffering from HIV back in the 80s or early 90s, okay? They took it upon themselves, the people with the illness took it upon themselves to pull together and not only survive the worst epidemic the world has ever seen, the most deadly one that I can recall. I mean, maybe outside of the pandemic flu or not, but you know what I'm talking about. And the Medical Association, when this illness first came out, the FDA, they weren't helpful, okay? They were not rushing to find cures for HIV. The very people themselves had to go all over the world, break all kinds of rules and regulations, rally and fight, and start coming up with solutions for their illness. I mean, they even broke into the FDA and took it over and hung banners. They got arrested. They got their families involved. They stayed involved. They didn't run away. They didn't go to jail. They didn't, you know, they stayed with it. They stuck together. So sticking together is what I'm talking about. As the recovery community goes, all facets of it, I think we're the best information the new ones are going to see when they get here. We have an evolving world taking place around us right now. There's many medications out there. Many you know about. An emerging field is what they call plant-based recovery. Some of y'all thinking, what's plant-based recovery? I'm going to get some oohs and some ahs. Ready? Oh yeah. Marijuana. It's here. Medical marijuana for recovery, for treatment. Every day a new treatment center is popping up somewhere in the country. CBD oils, kratom. A lot of science coming out today. A lot of studies taking place right now. These herbs have been around for centuries, and they're going to be around for centuries. And if you ask anybody, and I hear this a lot, we got to throw everything at this disease and the kitchen sink, right? We got to all come together, accept everything and everybody. Really? Well, why aren't we accepting this pathway or that pathway? Why are we only funding this pathway or that pathway? Are we really trying to meet people where they're at? You know, there's a reason plant-based is surging right now. And there's a reason it's effective and it's working. And you ask any parent in America who lost their child to an opiate overdose, would you like your son or daughter alive today if they were smoking weed? I think the answer would be yes. So I'm not saying everybody run off and smoke weed. That ain't what I'm saying at all. Because a lot of these medications, a lot of these products, they're very addictive. You know, Bill Wilson, the founder of, or Dr. Bill Wilson, the founder of AA, years ago, they started an AA meeting down in Mississippi back in the 40s, and they were drinking beer at that meeting. They were sitting around. They weren't drinking liquor, but they were drinking beer. And word got back to Bill W. and Dr. Bob and Joe and, you know, the buddies. They wanted to put a posse together, go down in Mississippi and crack some heads. You know, Bill Wilson said, whoa, whoa, whoa. You don't have a problem that John Barleycorn ain't going to take care of. You know what I mean? And sure enough, a few months later, the meeting collapsed. You know, you can't sit around in an AA meeting drinking beer and think you're going to be a good meeting. Well, a lot of these medications, you know, they're either going to work or they ain't. You know what I mean? Addicts do have a tendency to substitute one form of user for another. And they also have a tendency to lie and manipulate. You know, I cannot tell you the amount of addicts that come in front of me and say, John, I just want a taper. I just want to go get off, you know, detox. We send them to an addiction doctor. They come back with, you know, 30-day supply, 24 milligrams of Suboxone. So what happened to the taper? You know, it was difficult for an addict to, you know, you dangle the Tootsie Rolls, you're going to want one. So what I'm also recommending, Google this stuff. Google the studies taking place on a different type of pathways, the different treatments, the different medications. There's a lot of really good stuff going on out there. I know you can't read this. That's a kratom study saying how great kratom works for addiction. There's a marijuana study saying how great marijuana works. You can find the studies if you look for them. We're in an evolving time right now. There's no reason in the world why 10 years from now, we cannot be much further along than we are today with this addiction epidemic. But like it was said over and over and over by many speakers, as long as we chipping away at each other's process, we ain't going to get there. Unity is critical right now. We're at a turning point in America right now. And it's up to us, the recovery community, the providers, and the ones in it, come together and truly respect everybody's pathways, truly meet people where they're at, truly try to advance recovery for the good of everybody. That time is now, and I'm proud to be part of it. And I'm proud to be part of this event tonight. And man, I tell you what, I listen to all you guys and ladies speak. I'll be honest with you, a couple points during the conversation, I forgot I'm coming up here on the end talking. So you reached me. Y'all all did good. I'm very proud of that. So that's the end of my talk. Thank you very much.
McShin Foundation is Virginia's leading peer-to-peer recovery organization. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, let us get you connected. We can help you build a solid foundation through recovery. Here at the McShin Foundation, we are committed to healing families and saving lives.